Good morning. Welcome to episode 19 of Benny on the Beat. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it happens to be. How are you guys doing?
We're great.
Well, let's just jump into it. Here's what we got going on today. I've got a vehicle update for you guys, and then we're going to get right into the patrol recap for this week, which includes some very interesting calls. I started a shift the worst way a police officer could start their shift. We'll talk about it. We got to help a young man who had a girl spend the night who ended up wrecking all of his stuff when she left. Things didn't go very well, apparently. We got a call from a security guard that we really shouldn't have got to begin with. Most security guards do a fantastic job. This is one where maybe he was a little bit new. Those of you that work in security, you're going to appreciate this. We had an individual call saying that there were men in his home that were getting ready to shoot him. That turned out to be an interesting call. We got called to the city cemetery. I say we, I mean me, by myself. I got called to the cemetery on a suspicious noise. And we had a citizen go full John Cena on a shoplifting suspect that he happened to see run out of the store. He took matters into his own hands. And I mean took matters into his own hands. So as you can tell, we got an interesting episode today. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. But before we get into that, as always, we're going to look at a few comments and questions you guys left on the last episode. But first, let's talk about that car update. So I posted this picture a few days ago, and if you guys read carefully what I wrote, you would see that this is what it would look like if I were to have really bad luck. Well, who says I have really bad luck? I might have said that before, actually. Guys, the point is, this is not my car. That is not my car. Come on. You really think I would have wrecked my car that fast? You know what? Don't answer that. The point is, everything's fine with my car, all right? This was another car. My car's fine. I wouldn't wreck a brand new car. Gosh, dang it, the Silverado. Okay, I may have wrecked a brand new police car before, but that was like one time. Guys, the car is fine. The car will be fine. Nothing is going to happen to my car. This car is fantastic. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. The curse is dead. All right, enough on that. A few comments from the last video. So Bloodshot54 said, have you ever had to use spike strips? No, I've never actually in the field used spike strips. I've used them in training plenty of times. Never had to pull them out and use them. In fact, I don't even have them now. The former department that I worked for a few years ago, we had them. I had them for my whole career. I didn't even think about that. So the department I work for now, they don't even give them to us. I don't even have spike strips. Skawadania. I swear we've had comments from Skawadania before. That sounds familiar. If there are no other weapons available, can a police officer use a knife to defend himself, eliminate a threat? Oh, you better believe it, Skawadania. If my life is in danger, like legitimately, someone is about to hurt or kill me or another innocent person, whether I'm on duty or not, you can absolutely use anything available to you. I mean, you've seen videos of the police officers that hit people with their cars, right? Didn't Donut Operator just release a compilation of that? You absolutely can use whatever's available to you to defend yourself. If deadly force is justified, deadly force means deadly force. So a knife would definitely be okay. A hammer, a teacup, anything available to you. Teacup, really? Hope that answers your question. Who put lipstick all over my chapstick? Come on! Now I gotta use the side of it because it's all over the top. That's fantastic. Gotta love having girls in the house. Ooh, the Clark father.
Oh, I'm a dork.
First, my condolences and prayers to you and your family. Thank you, Clark father. And so many of you guys, like everybody on the last video. Of course, condolences for Grandpa Fuzz that we talked about passed away. My FBI agent grandfather. Second, I'm going to break traffic laws all around your town until I'm lucky enough to get pulled over by the Fuzz. Lucky enough. It's an honor? It's an honor to be pulled over by me, right? Should tell that to the people that I actually pull over. They should know. Christopher Giles. If you have had to draw your weapon for any reason during your career besides clearing a house, what was the first thing that went through your mind? You know what? I have to draw my weapon all the time, to be honest. And I'm usually probably thinking, what's for dinner? Oh, some nice tasty Chick-fil-A. Give me those waffle fries. You know what? I can't think specifically of the last time I had to because honestly, we have to draw our weapon pretty frequently. I do it all the time. But I think a lot of times what goes through our mind is just our training. Front sight post and, just the basics of what you've been trained in. I think you automatically revert to that. You don't have time to be thinking your own thing. So I wish I could give you a more specific answer. It's tough to recall exactly what's going through your mind when that happens. But it's a frequent thing. It happens all the time. Ryan Peters, hey FuzzFam, what kind of patrol cars have you used over the years? And also in those cars, what kind of gear did you have? That's a good question. As far as the gear, honestly, Ryan, the gear has stayed pretty much the same throughout my whole career. If you're a patrol officer, out on the road handling calls and stuff, most of the equipment in your car is going to be the same for the most part between officers and between cars, between agencies and stuff. But let's do a quick review of the cars I've had. The very first FuzzFam car was a Ford Crown Victoria. This was in like 2004. And no, I never wrecked that car. That car was fine, never had any problems with it. The next car I had was a brand new Chevy Silverado pickup truck. And I did have a problem with that car. I accidentally ran into a light pole a little bit. I got that truck fixed, I got it back, I had that for a while, and then the next car I had was back to another Crown Vic. I switched departments, I went to a different agency, I was back in a Crown Vic. Then I got my first Dodge Charger. This was the first all-wheel drive Charger in our department. Then I moved again to another department, the one that I'm in now, and I was given my very first ever Chevy Impala. Oh, what a car. What a car. Of course, I went through a couple Chevy Impalas before they finally got rid of that one and put me in the car that I'm in now, which is my 2015 Ford Taurus. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but a Taurus is a real animal. It's not just a car. That's right, it's a bull. Don't know if you knew that. Speaking of good questions, real police talk. Have you ever been to a Turkish bathhouse, Billy?
Question for you.
My wife broke into the office. She said she has an important announcement to record.
I have an important question.
What are you doing to my face?
What does YES spell?
Is this a trick question? It spells yes.
Okay. What does EYES spell?
I have to write it down.
No.
Why?
Can't write it down.
Why can't I write it down?
Just tell me what it spells. Just tell me what it spells.
EYES. EWES. ES.
What does...
Pretty much. It's not a word.
What does...
What? It's not a word. EWES. What?
Okay.
What is this ridiculous? Did you actually see this on... You saw this on Facebook or something?
Yeah, it's a thing
yes,
going around.
of course.
It's a thing going around on Facebook. But I was
it's
like,
so
I wonder
stupid.
what you do.
It's so stupid.
And I thought, once you figure it out, you'll be like, oh, this is gold. Okay,
No, it's
ready?
not. What?
What does YES spell?
It spells... YES spells yes.
What does EYES spell?
I already answered that one. Gosh, how many times? It's not a word. It doesn't spell anything. EWES.
Write it down.
Write what down?
EYES. On your paper. Don't write on your hands.
Yes. Oh. Eyes. Why? Why did you trick me? You're voodoo witchcraft. Is that what was supposed to happen?
It's not a word.
Make me look like an idiot. Ah. Well, now we know what the video is going to be sponsored by. This video is brought to you by EWES, also known as Eyes. Well, that's it. I'm going to delete Facebook off of her phone as soon as I get the chance. Unbelievable. And on that note, that's a good place to transition out of the Q&A and into the recap of the calls for service that I had. So as in the title of this video, we're going to talk about that call first. The worst way to start a patrol shift. And the bottom line on this, guys, the worst way to start a shift for any cop, I can almost guarantee you, is a call that involves a child that is hurt or has been hurt. I don't think anything gets to us faster or bothers us more than calls dealing with kids. I'll just say as a disclaimer, if you've got young kids watching this with you or something, you know, maybe skip ahead and watch this first and just make sure you're okay with them hearing about it. So the call was to go up and assist our crime lab technicians to take photographs of a kid in the emergency room at one of our local hospitals. He had been airlifted in from out of state as the victim of a dog mauling or a dog attack. The information on the call notes were pretty graphic. It said in there that he had had his throat ripped out by a dog, and this is a 7-year-old boy. My heart just sunk. I got this, feeling in the pit of my stomach, and immediately, like most officers I would think, start thinking about my own kids, and it just sucks. Stuff with kids is just, it's rough. And I mean, that is pretty graphic. That's pretty bad. I'm picturing, ugh. We got up there to the emergency room, found the room where the kid was, and I just kind of stood down the hall a little bit. I didn't want to, be there to see the pictures or, look at the wound. I really wanted nothing to do with that. I didn't want to have to see it. But the crime lab guy did his thing, took his pictures, and then we left. And I just said a little prayer in my heart. Anyway, poor little guy. I hope he's okay. I hope he gets better, makes a full recovery. I hope the best for him and his family. Crappy way to start the shift, and probably not the best way to start the recap of the patrol calls. I know these are usually try to be a little more entertaining and lighthearted and fun, But at the same time, we're talking about the realities of this job, and I'm sharing with you guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's good to know, some of these things that you'd have to deal with if you got into doing this job. Next call I had was a vandalism call. I went and met up with a guy. We'll call him Jimmy. Jimmy had a lady friend stay the night with him. And I guess things didn't go maybe as well as he would have hoped, or maybe he didn't realize they went as bad as they did. But at some point during the night, Jimmy's lady friend woke up, decided she was done with him, she was gonna leave, but not before going into his wardrobe, into his closet, with a pair of scissors and a knife, and cut up all of his clothes. You don't want to upset some of the women out there, and this was one of the women that you don't want to tick off or cross, apparently. Do you think Jimmy would get the point or the message? Of course not. That's not enough. Let's go ruin some more of his stuff. After destroying all of his clothes, she went and took his PlayStation 4, filled up the sink, and put it in the sink. Well, he's definitely got the message now. No. There's more we can do. Why stop there? Yeah, this woman impressed me. Her ability to take it all the way, not do anything half-hearted. So after the PlayStation, she found his watch, like a very, very nice watch that I think it was a gift from his father or something. And she took a knife to that and she scratched the heck out of that and just destroyed the watch. So I think he's got the message now. That's pretty thorough. I mean, you've really covered all the big items, I think. Except there is an Apple laptop there as well. We can't just ignore that one. So yes, she took the laptop and she put that in water as well and scratched up the screen with the knife. I mean, in the end, thousands of dollars of damage, and he woke up and found all of it. I wanted to put my arm around Jimmy and just give him a hug. I felt like he just needed a hug after all that. And of course, I don't have her side of the story. Like, maybe he actually deserved it. I'm not saying that, I don't know, but who knows why she did what she did. Oh, then the citizen shoplifting call. So this one was fun. We got a call of a disturbance of some kind up in a neighborhood. We didn't have any details of what it was about. I get up there and I find a man sitting on top of another guy. He's got him pinned to the ground.
Oh my.
With a group of people around just kind of spectating and watching. So I get up and ask him what's going on, and the citizen says this man stole from the store. He just ran out of the grocery store with stuff. I tackled him, detained him for you, and Merry Christmas. Here he is. So I try to talk to the guy, and this poor guy is like aspirated. He's thrown up. He's gurgling. He's can't even communicate or talk. He's like, oh, my neck. So I start asking the guy sitting on top of the other guy what's going on. He tells me that he's walking down the street by a grocery store up in this area that we were at, and he saw this guy run out of the grocery store with property in his hands, and he saw store employees chasing after him. So he intercepts this guy, and apparently this is according to the guy we ended up arresting later at the hospital when he gave his side of the story. He says the guy like karate chopped him in the neck, right behind, like boom, right in the neck, drops him with the judo chop to the neck, and then gets behind him and gets him in a chokehold. And he says almost like chokes him out, like he almost can't breathe, and then just sits on him until we get there. Now the other guy told us that he chased after him and found him in a bush and then tried to detain him, and the guy wanted to fight with him, so he just wrestled him to the ground and laid with him there until we got there. So I'm curious what you guys think about this. Good thing that the citizen did? Bad thing? Is that something that you would do for somebody stealing? Would you go get yourself involved like that? Did he go too far? I'd like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Then we got a call from a guy on 911 that said there were some people in his home with guns that were getting ready to shoot him. Now usually that would be a hot call right off the bat. Like crap, we got like a hostage situation, home invasion type thing or whatever. So I looked up this guy as we were on our way to the call, and it showed that he was mentally unstable. Furthermore, I looked at the history of his calls and pulled up a few of those reports. He had reported the exact same type of thing several times before. Officers had gone out, checked the home, and confirmed there was nothing there. It was just a mental health issue. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't be real one of these times. You can't just go off of that and assume that there's nothing to it. So we went out there, we tried to contact him. He had his door locked, and we were talking to him through the door, and it was difficult to hear what he was saying, but he wanted us to break down his door. So it was turning out to look like it was just another instance of mental illness. But we still wanted to talk to the guy and make sure he was okay and see if he needed to go to the hospital or anything, but he just wouldn't come answer the door. As we're walking away, the door opens and he comes out wearing nothing but a button-down shirt. Our conversation with him wasn't very productive. He was insistent that somebody was in the house. We even went in and cleared it for him and told him nobody's there. He thought we were lying and asked why we weren't willing to do anything to help him. And this was one of those cases where we had to figure out, is he really a danger to himself and other people? Because if he is, we'll make him go to the hospital to get evaluated and get some help. If he's not, then there's nothing that we can do. In the end, after talking with him, we convinced him to just go back inside. He wanted to lay down and just take a nap. We thought that was a good idea. We encouraged him to do that and make sure he had clothes on if he was going to come outside. He went back in and we left. Then we got a call from a security guard that said there was a homeless man that was refusing to leave the area and giving him trouble. So I responded down there. I got there first and I looked around the parking lot of this restaurant where we had the report the guy was at, and I saw a homeless guy on the corner, like out on the sidewalk by the street. Nothing to do with like the restaurant property. He was out on the sidewalk, which is city property. So I went to the restaurant and talked to the employees to see what the problem was. They had no idea what I was talking about. I went there because I thought they were the ones that called. It was the restaurant's address that we were dispatched to. But they didn't have a clue about it. They hadn't called us. In fact, they knew the guy that I was talking about on the corner. They said he was harmless and he'd never caused any problems. So I went out to my car and I called the complainant, who ended up being a security guard for like the greater shopping area, for the whole complex, if you will, not just the restaurant, but for that whole area. So I asked him what the problem was, and he said, well, the guy is out there on the corner and he's panhandling, and I guess technically he's okay to be there, but like he just shouldn't be there. So I said, wait a minute. So if I understand this correctly, the guy is not trespassing. No, he's not trespassing. And he wasn't bothering anybody else. No, he wasn't really bothering anybody. Did you get complaints about him from anybody? No, nobody complained about him. He just what? Like, in the end, this ended up being an instance of a guy that was doing absolutely nothing wrong, and the security guard decided to approach him to talk to him about it, telling him that maybe he should leave, even though he has no legal right to ask him to leave. So the guy called the security guard's bluff, and he didn't like it, so he ended up calling us. So I had a few words with him and just told him, in a tactful, nice way, look, you've got a job to do just like we do, but I'm going to recommend in the future, if you don't have any reason to approach someone and talk to them, especially to ask them to leave, don't do it.
Where's the fun in that?
And the next and last call of the day was a report of a woman screaming in the city cemetery. It came from up around the city cemetery area, and it was just a report of like a banshee-like scream. Somebody yelling and screaming in a really creepy way was the way the call came in. So there weren't any other units available at the time, but I went up there and decided to just start looking through the cemetery. No big deal, right? Now, I don't get scared by like creepy things, cemeteries and stuff. I really don't get bothered by that. But I started rolling through this cemetery, and I don't know what it was or why, but I can tell you that it was a little disconcerting. It was a little bit creepy. I don't know if it was the sound of my handcuffs as I was silently going through the cemetery that kept jingling, because I hang them on the, the handle of my spotlight. And it was just that little jingle or something going on, and I kept expecting, but I just went up and down the rows and drove through the parking lot and spotlighted different areas, and I didn't hear or see anything. Was the source of the screaming living or not? Who knows? Who am I to say? It's actually making me think about all the stories and calls and stuff I've had at cemeteries throughout my career. And before I was a police officer, as a teenager, I had some experiences in some cemeteries. Maybe we'll talk about some of those as we get closer to Halloween. Maybe a Halloween special of Benny on the Beat. And that's it for the calls this week. We again want to thank our sponsor of this video, iWiz. What did I say? What did I call him? Whatever it was, I'm going to delete my wife's Facebook. But thank you for being a part of these videos. Thank you for your comments, your interaction. Thank you for being subscribed to the channel. You guys are awesome. Hope you have a fantastic week, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
I'm at my prime, said I'm at my prime. We at our prime. Hey, we at our prime.
Oh, I'm a dork, huh?